Today I'm giving you a flip through of my first ever completed bullet journal. If you're the type of person who easily gets overwhelmed by all of the beautiful, creative, washi taped journals out there, then this flip through might help because I keep mine very basic and very minimalist. Let's go! Hi guys, it's Laura from How to Get Your Shit Together, and I help you get organized, get motivated, and show you that sometimes simplest is best. So I'm going to share the insides of my last bullet journal with you. This one runs from September 2015 to September 2016, so it's not the most recent, but my current one I still haven't quite filled up yet, so there you go. What's really interesting about it is that you will see that as time went on, I tried to change things up a little bit, but I ended up pretty much exactly where I started. Another thing I will say before I flip you around is that I use my bullet journal as an actual journal more so than a planner or a task manager. For me, it's more about memory keeping. I use it to write down things like events and appointments, thoughts and ideas, and just a general overview of what happened each day, just so you know. Right, flip through. So this is my bullet journal. It is the official bullet journal from Leuchtturm 1917. So you can see the bullet journal logo on the front there. And I will just go straight ahead and dive into it. I will skip over the first page just because it's got some personal information on it. But you can see on this side, it's just got the key. So you can fill it in how you'd like. I never bothered. Then just some tips on how to use it, and then straight into the index. The index in the official bullet journal has 4 pages. I didn't even need 2 full pages. So there you go. You may have more collections than I did, but I really did not need 4 pages at all. There it is. So then straight into the future log. So in the official bullet journal, you've got space for the future log, like it's specifically labeled for you. So what you're supposed to do is on this side you write down your month, so the dates and then just the first letter of the day, and then on this side you are supposed to put your to-do list for that month. I got carried away and just skipped it straight to October. So then I did November and December, and then you can see I had to go back and write in to-do lists. I don't use my bullet journal as a task manager, so you can see that as the months went on, I used this less and less. I will link below to the task manager that I use. I use Digital for all of my planning and to-do lists and stuff like that. So I will link those below for you, but yeah, I initially planned on using this as a task manager, but as the months went on, I went back to Digital essentially. So then straight into my first daily page. So this is how I was setting it up. I would just write the day in capitals, just a line across just as a divider, and then a little banner here with the month and the date. And that's how I did it. So in terms of my bullets, I used the little checkbox for a task, and then this little key here I used for just some journaling. So like I said at the outset, I basically use this for journaling, for jotting down thoughts and any kind of special events and things. So I used the little key just because it reminded me of the little keys that you used to get with the diaries when you were a kid. And that's pretty much it there. Then just a little circle for events. This was my first collection, books to read. Again, I didn't really continue this because if I wanted to read a book, I just checked it out of the library, or I went online and bought the ebook. So then we go straight on. More daily pages, a collection that I never really finished. I had some questions saved on my laptop and stuff, and I meant to transfer them all here so they would all be together, but I just kind of scrapped that in the end. More daily pages. So this is basically what my weeks would look like. Here, this day I remember I was feeling particularly overwhelmed, so I just wrote down my top 3 priorities for the day. And this is when I started this week. I wanted to really get a handle on my health and fitness. So I used a little weighing scales symbol here to mark down my weight, and then a little running person because I started running. So how far I ran, how long it took, and how many calories according to the app I was using I burned. Down here then I used a little woman with a sweatband and little beads of sweat for kind of weight training, circuit training, things like that. So that's what that looks like. And on, a lot of them look the same. At the time I was taking about a page for 2 days. It just kind of happened that way. I didn't like specifically say that I was going to use 1 page for 2 days, but it just kind of worked out like that. You'll see as we go on that I don't keep that up. This then I started using the little confetti cannon for marking you know, nice milestones. So this was the first blogiversary of howtodoist.com. So that's what I used there. You see my little sweaty woman again here. This one I used, it was kind of a milestone, but it didn't really feel like a celebratory milestone. So I didn't feel the confetti cannon was appropriate. So I just used a little banner very similar to the banner that I used up here. This then, I don't often, you know, doodle or do anything like overly intricate or anything in my bullet journal, but this quote, I read this quote and it really resonated with me, and I think of it often even since I've written it in. So this is like going back 2 years ago now, but it took me hours and hours to do this. So don't think that this looks lovely and I just like threw it in there because I'm particularly artistic or anything. I am not at all. I don't know if you can even see, but you can still see some of the pencil lines. So I did it in pencil first and then just went over it in pen. But this took many, many hours to do. I really like it, but it did take a long time. So then we're back in. I did do like tiny little doodles here and there, so just a little pumpkin for Halloween. Again, I'm not artistically gifted in any way. Another collection, so this was my 16 before 2016 collection. I think I probably achieved most of those. And here we are back. So I've just kind of bundled all these pages together because they're all identical. So there's just pages and pages of the same sort of stuff. So then we skip forward to 2015, a year in review. This was my look back. So at the end of the year, I wanted to look back over everything. And again, this spread took me a long time. And again, I did it in pencil first. So you can probably still see some of the writing in pencil. I hated this spread. I did it and I just did not like it at all. But I did want to have a place where I noted down like all of the special events, all of the special things that had happened that year. But when this was all done, I did not like it at all. So you will see then when I went on to the following year, you'll see kind of how I changed it up. So I'll show you that in just a minute. But we skipped then on to 2016, and this is where I had grand plans of making my bullet journal look really pretty. So I started using, I think these are Stabilos or maybe the Stettler pens. They could even be Sharpie pens. I'm not 100% sure, but I used various ones over the coming pages. And I started doing what I do with my monthly review. So I note down what went well and what could have been improved. But this, as you will see, this did not last long at all. So the first thing that really annoyed me was that when I flipped over, this had bled through the page. So I didn't want to use this page then. So I skipped onto this page. Again, here, I can't remember if these are Stabilos, Stettlers, or Sharpies, but it's one of those. So at the end of every month, I do a monthly review. I have another video on that. Again, I'll link that below for you. But here were just some things that I wanted to do as part of that review. So update my bullet journal, pick 2 books to read for the following month, etc., etc. Again, this had bled through, so went over onto this page. This is where I changed. I think this is actually the Sharpie pen. So I wanted to see how that would perform. So that went terribly again, lots and lots of bleed there. Same here, tried a different type of pen, wasn't too bad, but still loads and loads of ghosting, still didn't like it. So this is when I switched back to a ballpoint pen. These are the Inkjoy pens. So that was okay, but I still wasn't overly in love with it. So I started going back then just to see, rather than like taking up 1 full page for a day, and I went back to using this. Because I went back to ballpoint, I could use this side of the page again. So books I read in 2016, I wanted to keep a list of all the books I had read, and this collection was continued at the back, which you'll see. So again, I kind of kept up with this, changed the format up a little bit here. So rather than doing the kind of what went well and what could have been improved thing, I just started jotting things down. So here I have positives, negatives, but then I basically just went back using a slightly different banner, but I went back to pretty much the old format. Still was trying to kind of keep some color in there, but that also fades out, as you will see. So a few pages like that. Then I tried a different banner here. Wasn't keen on that either, just didn't feel that it kind of stood out enough to delineate between the days. Tried a different banner, still wasn't keen on that. Still felt it just looked very messy. So I kind of went back to the initial one, but I was hand drawing the lines rather than using a ruler because I thought that would just make it quicker. I did find when I was like doing these initial ones, I was using a ruler and it was a little bit painstaking. So I tried just hand drawing them. So that went reasonably well for a while. So this, my January highlights. So you saw my 2015 review. Didn't like this layout for a start, but also didn't like that I had to look back over an entire year. So this spread took me a long time. So I decided to do it monthly. And I also decided to do some doodles and things in here, just make it stand out a little bit more. I like having the highlights here, and even though this page would take me probably an hour to do, I felt that the positives of this page, like the benefits, just outweighed the time that it took me. So you will see these kind of all throughout the bullet journal. So again, just kind of tried a different type of header here, just with the smaller writing and using color instead of the black. Tried then for like collections and notes and things to use a different color pen so that the collections would kind of stand out a little bit more. Not sure why I did this in blue. I absolutely hate blue ink. I think it's just from school. In school we were forced to write in blue ink only. We weren't allowed to use any other color except red, just for numbering things. And I've just hated it ever since. That's just me. So these were some notes on Sarah Knight's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck, which I highly recommend if you haven't read it. I have a review of it. Again, I will link it below. There are going to be so many links in the description box below. But she has a little flowchart in the book and I just copied it down in here because I really, really liked it. Then back to regular daily pages. Had a collection for random thoughts just because I found that there were some things that I kind of wanted to keep track of, some quotes, some questions, random bits of information that I wanted to keep track of but didn't really have any place. If I put them in my dailies, I was just going to lose them. So I had a random thoughts page. Again, just back to regular dailies. Collection for my ideal day. I seem to do up one of these like every few months. And then just more of the same here, more of the same daily pages. Was trying out just different headers. So here I went with the double line just to see if that, because I was really what I was trying to do was to make these kind of stand out a little bit more. When I looked at it, I just kind of felt it just all ran on and I couldn't really, I wanted to just make the days stand out a little bit more, like where one day ended and one began. Just a little bit more visible, I guess. So here I started doing the double lines just to see if that would work. And I did quite like that, so I kind of stuck with that for a while. As you can see here. Again, some notes on The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. Again, still trying to incorporate some color into my days. Which I did like. Here I went back to try a different one. I tried putting the day and the date just in one place rather than having the day here and then the date over here, but didn't like this either. So here's my February highlights. Again, you can see just some doodling and some color. Really like these pages, but so time consuming. Again, a different type of banner just with the arrow on the end. A different one then with a box around, then with a line and just different type of text. Again, trying to do some notes in a different color. So this was a purple. But I just couldn't get something that I really loved. Here I tried to do then a double box in a in a different color, because I was finding when I was writing these in a color, you kind of just couldn't see them amongst all the black. Again, it just didn't stand out enough for me. It wasn't as vibrant. So I went back to the black text and then drawing a box around it in color to still try and incorporate some color into it, and then pretty much gave up on that and just went back to the black again. Still using some color for some things. Again, a March highlight. So these just a few pages like that, and then here I gave up on the banners completely. They were time consuming, so what I found I was doing is I was just writing this and then writing out my days and then going back kind of when I had time and filling in the banners. But I pretty much just gave up on that. You'll see from here on out I pretty much didn't use any banners at all. Just too time consuming. Again, here didn't put like a little banner around this. And that's how all of this went. Just, this is when I gave up. So I clipped all these together again because they're just same thing, pages and pages. So then here I did try, I decided, because it was halfway through the year, so I do mid-year reviews, so generally at the beginning of July, kind of end of June, beginning of July, I start to get remotivated and just feeling a little burst of energy again, a little bit of enthusiasm. So I tried to go back to banners, but again, gave up on it very, very quickly. So again, these are all the exact same. And then these are just the last few pages. So I just went back to writing the header in black. Had great intentions, of course, of going back and filling in all of these headers, but just never did. And you know what? I'm happy enough with that. Here then I tried just doing the header for these notes on the book Simplicity Parenting. Just tried to do the header in a different color. And then just the little note, like the little dash in the different color. Basically, I tried to use color and it just didn't really work for me. I always ended up going back to just black. It was just so much quicker for me, except for the highlight pages. Here again, I tried a different type of banner, like a full line across and then a broken line under the day and the date. Again, gave up on that pretty much immediately, but went back to writing in capitals. And that's pretty much it. This is the end of my books I read in 2016 list. So you can see I didn't even put a header on it, like not even a title. I left space for it, but didn't bother actually filling it in. And then this was my 17 before 2017 list. And that is the last thing in this completed bullet journal. I ticked off the ones that I did, and I have since completed some more. But that is my bullet journal. The rest then is just some kind of notes on how the bullet journal system works. And that's the end of it. In here I just have the archival stickers, which I haven't even used. So you can see like there are no stickers anywhere on my bullet journal. Because this is the first one I've completed, I'm sure once I have a collection of them, I will pop the stickers on so I'll be able to find the one I need. But right now I've just got the one completed one plus the one I am currently working on, which is this one here. This is just a cheap notebook that I bought in a supermarket in Portugal, and it's a square grid. So I'm nowhere near completing this yet, but when I do complete it, I will have another flip through video for you on this, because I've slightly changed up some things in this one. But this is my bullet journal, my completed bullet journal. As you can see, like nothing in the way of stickers or washi tape, minimal on the doodling, reasonably minimal on the color scheme. It's pretty much, it's black, like 95% black throughout, and that suits me just fine. It's so much easier just to grab a black pen and go. That is my bullet journal. Can you see how I tried to add a little bit of flair with fancier writing and different colored pens? I tried to make it look pretty and it just didn't work for me. It became more of a chore to make it look a certain way rather than just sticking to it working a certain way. Function over fun any day of the week, folks. I mean, always both if you can, but if it comes down to choosing one over the other, I always opt for practicality. Let me know in the comments below if you use a bullet journal, and if so, what notebook you use and if you would recommend it. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more planner related videos from me, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss them. I upload new videos every Thursday. If you are on YouTube, the button looks like this and you will find it down there. click the little bell beside it to get notified when I have a new video up. Until next time, cura míle maith agus feici mé sibh sigalua. Slán!